wants to identify as a woman, we have to respect that woman and call her what she truly wants to be.
Cool, so you'd have sex with a tranny.
Hey there, handsome. How about I take you out and show you a good time?
In the year 2015, Caitlyn Jenner was given an award for her self-identification, a process that every human being goes through in their early years. In wake of this, social justice supporters have been mainstreaming transgender surgery and the idea of transgenderism. This is dangerous. Transgenderism is most likely a mental delusion. Biologically speaking, sex is determined from conception at a chromosomal level. All the chromosomes in a male body, except ironically for some of the chromosomes for some of the sperm, are male. And unless there is a way for the chromosomes in someone's body to magically change, then that person's sex does not change. Johns Hopkins Medical School was the pioneer for sex change surgery. However, by the 1970s, the school ceased performing the surgery because it demonstrated that the practice had no beneficial results and were in fact detrimental. This to them violated the Hippocratic Oath. We'll have to start from the bottom with this issue by first defining the nature of transgenderism. In June 2015, an article was published by distinguished psychiatrist Paul McHugh that stated his findings on transgenderism. He states, "The central issue with transgender subjects is one of assumption. The assumption that one's sexual nature is misaligned with one's biological sex. Research shows that transgender patients suffer from episodes of depression when not seeing themselves as female. This disorder was once called gender identity disorder, but doctors felt that what had to be treated was the depression and not the assigned gender. Therefore, its label was changed to gender identity dysphoria. In light of this, however, statistics show that the suicide rate among transgenders is astonishingly high, with 40% attempting suicide." Former transgender Walt Heyer states in his reports that among post-transgender patients, 20% have regret, 41% attempt suicide, 90% have a significant form of psychopathology, 61% also have other psychiatric disorders and illnesses, 50% have depressive symptoms, 40% show symptoms in anxiety, and troubled by the push to surgery and transition as the first course of treatment for transgenders. What progressives point out is that transgender people feel depressed and attempt suicide because they are persecuted by society. American lawyer Ben Shapiro brings a good point that counters this.
Your question.
I'm full of emotion right now because people die.
I've noticed.
Clearly, it doesn't bother you because you're sitting there stone-faced and cold-hearted.
Of course it bothers me when people commit suicide, which is one of the reasons I don't believe that transgender surgery is the solution, considering that the suicide rate after transgender surgery is precisely the same as the suicide rate before transgender surgery.
Yeah, because then technically they're not passing, and then they're open for more discrimination.
Okay, the transgender suicide rate is approximately 0.8 in every 100. The only comparable suicide rate in human history of which I am aware is Jews living under Austrian and German rule during World War II. To liken the treatment of transgenders in the United States or the Western world to Jews living under Nazi... No, I'm actually comparing apples to apples in terms of the suicide rate. But logic did not triumph, folks. The argument that I'm making there is incredibly simple, right? The argument that I'm making there is you say society causes transgender suicide rates to be that high. First of all, it's not 50%. It's 0.8 in every 100 transgenders try to commit suicide on an annual basis. Over the course of life, supposedly 41% of transgender people will attempt suicide at some point. The left says this is all because people are mean and say he instead of she. So if Zoe Tour goes home tonight and kills himself, then that would be my fault for saying, sir, that would have nothing to do with the mental illness that caused Zoe Tur to cut off his own genitalia. Astonishing. And so the point that I'm making is, well, if you're going to blame it on society, if you're going to suggest that society is responsible for all of this, then wouldn't you also have to suggest that the societal treatment of transgenders is the same as the Nazi treatment of Jews?
On a mental level, someone might think he's a woman. However, being a woman and thinking you are a woman at some point will show you can't run from biology.
Hey, help me, someone. Call the Listen here, son. You fucking pointed me again, you cunt. I'll drop you, alright? Fucking jog on. And you prick.